What's up, everybody? This is Stephen Palmino for the MUX Week 2 discussion. I'm going to be going over the questions here. The term is 1404. Just going to really quickly go through the app to just show you what the users were presented with. This is what they were presented with. The first thing they saw, I just passed them the phone and asked them to go ahead and explore, and later on I would ask them a few questions, kind of give them some directions. But I told them the basic idea of the app, which is kind of the same information they would get from reading a description, maybe from the App Store. So just a very basic, I told them this was an app to kind of submit questions and kind of learn the language. So the first thing, languages English, and maybe they wanted to learn Spanish. So languages you want to learn, Spanish. So once they click start, they did see in our word for us to translate. Most of them just entered whatever. Hello, we'll just, keyboard's not going to work. Let's see. It doesn't do this on the actual app. There we go. Hello. And then I had a couple users. I'll go over this a little bit more in the once I get to the data, but I did have some users kind of confused about how to get out of this, even though there was a done button. Maybe I'll put a clear blue background or something on it so it's a little more obvious, but you could either click the background or hit the done button. And this was another point that was kind of confusing for the users, trying to figure out what this was. One of them got it, but this is kind of what language you want to translate into. So we click Spanish and click send. That was very clear. And here's the translation, or this is your the input, and this is 5 randomly generated responses. They all say the same thing, so it doesn't matter what you put in. It'll always say these 5. But I did kind of randomize when they come in, anywhere between 0 and 4 seconds. These will pop in and kind of give the feel of the live interaction. But then at this point I asked the user, to go ahead and save this, and they all found the save pretty easy to find. What was confusing for one of them was they kept clicking save, not knowing if it actually saved. So putting a dialogue here would be helpful. And then I asked them to find how to access a history of translations, and they all were able to find this history. And from there, they usually clicked it and kind of took a look and saw that it was actually what they put. From there, I just got them to put a survey. It's such a basic app that there wasn't much to instruct on. Once they did the survey, I did have the survey here in the app. It loads and pulls up eventually. But there was just 5 questions about the usability of the app, and there was a few suggestions, and I can go ahead and go over those answers now. I don't know if this is going to load. The overall, go over the questions here. The overall experience of the app was mostly positive. Once the users were kind of pre-qualified, I could only get 3 users since I'm in South America. It was a pain getting English speakers, and I translated one of them into Spanish, so there was some confusion there, but overall the experience was positive for the people that were interested. The tasks were easy to accomplish. Like I said, there was a few points that kind of confused. I think the main thing was some suggestions, like the survey, the save. That's something I kind of noticed. They didn't say it, but they clicked it a few times, and that kind of cued me in on I need to make that clear, as well as this, because they kind of hesitated for that and didn't know what that was. So yeah, there's a few more features that I'm going to try to include, but I think the overall sense was that the design was just so crappy that it was distracting. So I'm going to try to make it a little cleaner and kind of brand it better, and kind of make the flow a little easier. I think that'll kind of allow the user to kind of explore easily. And I think that's also the pain point, was just, for me, it was watching the user struggle with the bad design and just the features that that weren't, some of the directions kind of just weren't clear for the flow. The tasks were easy to accomplish as well. Besides a few indicators, it was fairly simple. So here I can show you the results of the three tests. They all said it was good. Obviously, you know, it could always be better. Nobody put that it was poor or fair, so that was encouraging. Everyone said the tasks were easy to complete because it's a super easy app. The navigation, one of them said it wasn't that easy to interpret, so that definitely was super useful. And I had two fill-in questions here. One answered if something was confusing. That language, that screen where it shows the language to translate to this one, that's where one of them was confused. And a couple suggestions were voice commands, which they mentioned, you know, if you click here, they want to be able to, you know, kind of tap on Siri to kind of voice to text. I thought it was weird that I'm not sure, maybe I have to enable that, but it didn't. It was weird that it didn't do it automatically. And the random answers, that was also a good request that I'm going to consider. They want to have random page where they can just view, for example, history, kind of like this, where they can kind of view maybe the 20 most recent questions or something, where they can just, you know, browse their target language and kind of learn stuff randomly. So I thought that was a really good idea. I'm not sure if, you know, this release would be best, but anyway, that's been my my review here for the week 2 discussion of the MUX. Thanks for watching.